Hey everyone, Works here. It's Reaction Sunday. You know what that means. So today we're going to be trying a little bit of a different setup for the video. Let me guys know if you like this a little bit better than my face being overly large with the video being kind of small. This time we're going to do a little bit of the reverse. Try it and see how it goes. If you guys like it, maybe this is the way that we'll stick to it as far as our sort of quote new reaction setup for any reaction videos that I do. So today we're continuing Misty Mountains month. We are in week 4 of 5. This one's going to be a little bit different, I think, because we're listening to Malinda Catherine Reese, who did a video Misty Mountains from Lord of the Rings, but make it siren and mermaidy. So I imagine this is going to be quite different than what we've been getting with the previous videos. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this is going to be look like. I've never seen this one, so this is a first time reaction video. So the normal first time reaction rules apply. I'm going to be watching this video all the way through, just on first reaction, listening to it, all that good stuff, and then we'll go back and review it again. So this video is going to be a little bit longer, probably because I am going to do just the full first reaction and then the analysis. So for those of you that just want the reaction part, I'll make note of where you guys can leave the video, and those that like to stick around for like the analysis, the kind of deep dive, me nerding out a little bit on the video, what we've got, we'll go from there. I don't imagine there's going to be a ton going on visually with this video because it looks like a pretty standard setup that she's always done for herself on some of her music with her candle, but I'm really interested to hear what we're going to get musically out of her. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start up the Misty Mountains from Lord of the Rings, but make it siren and mermaidy from Malinda Catherine Reese, who we've seen already once in the Iris cover from the Bass Gang during Bass Gang month. So if you haven't seen that video yet and you want to get an idea of what else Malinda can do, there's a video for you to go watch. All right, so here we go.
Far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day, to find our long forgotten gold. The pines are roaring on the height, the winds were moaning in the night, the fire was red, it flaming spread, the trees like torches blazed with light.
Very, very nice.
Farewell we call to hearth and hall, the wind may blow and rain may fall, we must away ere break of day, far o'er the wood and mountain top.
All right. That was very cool. Obviously, like I said, very, very different, and we knew that it was going to be. Let me make my camera a little bit smaller here now that we've gone through this. I normally have it a little bit smaller for WoW gameplay, but I'm gonna adjust the reaction setting if this is something that you guys prefer. I'll make it a little bit bigger in the new setting that I'll develop, but that should be good for now. Anyways, so this one obviously siren and mermaidy. She accomplished that. I definitely think she did that. Like I said, visually, not a ton going on here. This is not like the Wellerman video or Peter Holland's Tim Faust video even, but a very, very intimate feeling setting with her camera kind of, quite close, microphone quite close, basically only the candle being the only light in the room. So very, very intimate setting, which, you know, I know she uses a lot for TikToks and stuff like that, but I actually like the kind of the intimacy of it all, which I think is really neat. So let's go ahead and just dive in. For those of you that are here only for the reaction, this is kind of where the video ends. The TLDR of it is that I thought this was beautiful. I loved its intimate setting, and I loved the kind of like the long background note in the back that she did, plus her singing. Overall, just a beautiful, beautiful cover. Um, there's a reason she's one of the most popular singers on a lot of social media platforms, but especially TikTok, and why she's like basically a big star now. Like, it's very, very obvious if you listen to this and many other of her songs why that's the case. But yeah, that's the end of the video. For those of you that just want to do simply just a reaction, for those of you that want to do a deep dive, stick around. We're going to get into it a little bit here. All right, so let's start here at the very beginning, where you can see she sets up the candle just in the corner of the screen. And this right here, that I think it's like a long string quartet that just keeps playing back and forth. I've heard something like this used a lot in things like deep sleep music. It's also used because it has a very, very sort of soothing, calming sound. If you're like laying down in bed with your eyes closed and you got this going, it can be a way for you to like help your brain like trigger itself down. So it kind of sets a tone early on that this is going to be very different from what you're used to with Misty Mountains, which is generally seen as a bass singer song. But we're going to get something quite different out of this, and it sets the tone early with that sort of string, I guess, quartet, cello, standing bass type setup there. I don't know exactly which instruments are there.
Far over the misty mountains cold.
So the way she says far there at the beginning, I think is really interesting because, with all the other covers that we've done with Jonathan Young and the Wellerman and Peter Holland's Tim Faust, it's far, far. And here she goes far, like Boston-y in some ways, but like it adds like it like is a good way to perk your ears immediately. And, she kind of goes wider with the way that she says it. Yeah, listen to it again.
Far over,
Watch your mouth one more time.
far
You can see kind of like this instead of far, like that. She's kind of a little bit wider in the mouth, and so the A comes out with a much different sound than it would in, say, like Bobby Bass with you at far over. That right there. Hers is far over. That kind of difference. Not bad. It's just a neat little difference that, you get to see kind of like the creative insight and like the mini choices that get made by singers, and it's just kind of neat.
over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old.
One small thing, I like that she put the lyrics on there, so for anyone that doesn't know the song, which I imagine most younger generation folks won't because they didn't grow up on Lord of the Rings like we did, Though they may know it because, this song is everywhere all the time. It feels like somebody's always covering it because it's a very easy song to pick up and learn, and to has like, as we've seen so far this month, like lots of different ways that you can approach it. So I appreciate that she added the lyrics there.
We must away. Every
I really love the smile that she gives in a way because it just brightens the sound a lot more in that moment. Let's go back 10 seconds here. Uh, but it really just brightens up the sound that she's doing in that moment. Really helps with that sort of mermaidy feel where it's like, when you think of a siren or a mermaid and kind of the traditional pirate folklore, sailor folklore, like sirens are known to like draw you in, not just with sound, but they can make themselves look, beautiful and gorgeous. And visually, so there wasn't a lot visually, but there are some things visually by adding just that little smile, even if it wasn't intentional, just adds to the feel of that sort of siren's call that she's trying to portray in this video. Watch here.
we must away.
Right there.
Ere break of day.
I also really enjoy singers, like you can tell when they are like starting to get into it themselves, because like, I mean, you could even see this with just singing in your own car or something, where if you're really getting into a song and you're not driving, but like say you're in the passenger in your car, or you're just sitting at like in the parking lot or something like that, and you're listening to a song and you really get into it. Have you ever noticed like you really close your eyes so that you can like try to focus on your own voice and stuff? I love watching singers get into the songs that they're singing by doing little things like that, like closing your eyes, because basically what kind of scientifically, I guess biologically going on, when you kind of cut off one of your senses by closing your eyes, you heighten some of the others because your brain doesn't have to stimulate all five senses. And so being able to like close your eyes, and of course she's probably standing in the room and stuff like that, but by closing her eyes for that second, she's really like focusing on her own sound. And so it's just really cool, and it adds again that depth of that siren aspect where earlier she tried to, she was using the smile to draw you in. Now she's using sound to draw you in
To find all alone.
before coming back with you again and making eye contact.
The pines are roaring.
Little touch there, as she said the pines. Notice the candle light thing that she has flickered.
The pines are roaring.
That's a nice little touch visually. Again, not something she can control, but it happened and it made things better visually.
On the high, the winds were moaning in the night.
So one thing I've noticed so far throughout this song, and again, someone that's a little bit more note and keys and things like that inclined, it feels like she's kind of staying roughly in the same octave the entire song. So the variation in her voice isn't all that much. And I think it's actually a good choice here because like this song is, as I've said many times before, it's a sad song. And even in like, obviously, well, I'm an exception because you had like 20 people singing, so you could expand ranges. But we've seen with Jonathan Young and with Tim Faust Peter Holland's version is that the main melody singing lines are generally staying around, one octave. Like when Tim was singing, it was a lower octave, and then when Peter was coming in, it was kind of one high octave. Like there's not a lot of variation in terms of like going up and down octaves from a lot of these guys and girls in this case. And I think that that's kind of something else that makes Misty Mountains fairly unique as a song, is that you're not running crazy runs up and down, through a single line and stuff like that, like you can with songs like Centuries or uh, Yellow Flicker Beat that we saw a little bit with the Bass King songs, and we'll probably see in future videos with Home Free and Voice Play coming up soon. So, just really kind of like an interesting note to me is that she stays relatively in the same octave range, obviously a little bit up, a little bit down, because you can't make it completely flat, otherwise it's a completely boring song. But the fact that she's kind of staying, like, if this is like the bottom key, she's like, up here, but is like staying up here, going maybe a little bit higher every now and then, going down a little bit lower every then. So just a really interesting, again, interesting musical choice.
The fire was red.
Of course, as soon as I talk about that, she jumps up to say red, of course.
It flaming spread.
And down to go spread. She's just making me look stupid.
The trees like torches blazed with light. Ooh.
And here, obviously, not something in the original song, so an addition from her with just the ooze and like the harmony and melody, again, still against this back sort of string, like low string sound that we've got going on just constantly throughout this song. I think this section is really nice because it just adds enough of a contrast in the song. Instead of just going through the song and singing the lyrics, there's this little section that breaks it up a little bit. It changes, like has a slight change in approach that makes the song, like, again, as I talk about, like engaging your ears. That's what this does, and I think it's a very, very smart and wise choice to kind of just break up the constant singing of lyrics with here just the ooze. We've seen it in other copies too. Peter Hollins did his beautiful high note singing in the middle of his. Jonathan Young didn't really have it, but like again, his was an older video. Mid 2014, kind of the advancement in musical writing, and I'm sure even he himself would say he'd probably do that song a little bit differently now. But you see it in the Wellerman too, where they add, they're doing a lot of song singing, but think of like the section that she just did, like even they had like these layers to it with like icy fire being thrown in the backgrounds and stuff like that. So she kind of is following that trend and adding something a little bit different in the middle of the song to keep your ears engaged and to just kind of throw like a mental curveball at you musically. Really nailing that sirens call. I don't know what post-production she did, but there's like a level of echo in the background too that really nails home that siren theme that she's trying to go for. Just sounds immaculate. It could be that she's just able to control her voice that much. It wouldn't surprise me, but either way, like musically, it's a very nice touch to kind of fulfill that sort of siren aspect that she's trying to do. So, dissonant chord there, or dissonant note singing there that she did. Again, catches your ears in a way that doesn't sound negative, like it doesn't clash that bad, but it's going like major to minor, or I'm assuming that's what she did here, a minor to major, one of the two. It's just a little bit of a change, even for just a small one little bar of ooze that kind of like catches your ear and makes you go, wait a second. Like it's like your brain initially doesn't think it like that doesn't sound right, but then you listen to it for more than like a split second and you're like, wait, that kind of does work. So it's a really nice way to kind of, again, engage your ears, engage your brain, and to kind of like processing what's going on. And then right back into the original major, I'm assuming is what it is.
Farewell to hearth and hall. The wind may blow and rain may fall. We must away.
I like the way that she did away there. In most versions of the song, it's "We must away." Like it's very slow, but here she kind of made the A very quick here. We must away, that sort of thing.
We must away.
The A in away is also like soft, and then as we get into away and as she goes, she kind of like immediately kind of pushes more volume, almost much more power into the phrase away before kind of drifting back down into air break of day.
Ere break of day.
So just kind of like this up and down for a little bit, which adds again tonal contrast in a song where she's stayed pretty consistent in the octave that she's in.
Far o'er the wood and mountain top.
And then again, back with the ooze to end the song. Mountain Tall is the end of the song, but here she's adding just that little bit of siren at the end with the ooh. So, just a very cool version of it, and kudos to Malinda. Shout outs to her for doing a great job with this little bit version of the cover. Obviously, a lot of other stuff that she's done with Lord of the Rings, Into the West, you can see here on the screen. Obviously, she's got her Patreon. Subscribe to her channel if you're interested in what she's got. So that'll do it for this reaction and analysis cover of the song. Next week, we're going to the opposite end of the octave scale. We're going to do Jeff Castellucci's Misty Mountain cover, which we know is going to be bass galore. So we got, very high voice. I don't know if she's considered alto or whatever the case may be. Whatever Malinda's natural range is, alto, to Jeff's natural range of bass. We're basically taking a huge 180, jumping off a cliff into the low sounds of Jeff Castellucci next week. So until then, everyone, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all enjoying good music. You're having fun doing it. And I will see you all in the next video.